Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, October 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related questions that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at what the U.S. National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that we now have Hurricane Tammy right there to the east of the Lesser Antilles, and we can see that they've just recently, at the 7 p.m. update, highlighted the area to the south of Jamaica, more to the southwest of the island, giving that area a 20% chance of some amount of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Let's take a look at what they're showing about Hurricane Tammy before we look at that system in the southwestern Caribbean. We can see that it's located right there off to the northeast of Barbados. That's its center, and it's moving to the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour and packing maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. And we could see it even better on the rainbow satellite images right there. Very impressive system. It's been developing today. It was supposed to be a tropical storm at this time according to yesterday's forecast, but we can see that it has jumped the gun and it has intensified quickly into a hurricane, and it's definitely bringing some amount of showers and thunderstorm activity to sections of Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, definitely Barbados, sections of Martinique, St. Lucia, Guadeloupe, Dominica, and there's definitely more rainfall to come. And we can also see that by the end of the run or the satellite loop, we can see that we had a huge burst of convection right there off to the east of Dominica and Martinique. Alright, so let us take a look at what the Hurricane Center is showing for that area in the southwestern Caribbean. It states here, disorganized showers and thunderstorms over this far southwestern Caribbean Sea are associated with a broad area of low pressure. Some slow development of this system is possible this weekend and early next week, while it moves slowly westward over the southwestern Caribbean Sea. The disturbance is forecast to come inland over Central America late Monday or Tuesday, and no further development is expected after that time. So, according to the Hurricane Center, it's expected to move to the west, definitely entering sections of Central America, maybe affecting sections of Costa Rica, Nicaragua. But we know how these things go. We have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. We know sometimes it's showing more of a westward trend, then later on it shows more of a northern trend. We have to wait until this system is out of the way and dead before we can actually say we're out of the way, because we can see the proximity close to Jamaica, definitely. So we have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that the only area of interest that we have is Hurricane Tammy right there to the east of the Lesser Antilles. A few troughs here and there across the southwestern Atlantic, western Caribbean, and that ridge of high pressure that's sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with Hurricane Tammy. Lots of deep convection. You can also see some other patches of clouds coming into sections of the Leeward Islands associated with that trough, affecting portions of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. We can also see we're at some amount of afternoon convection across sections of Haiti, Dominican Republic, eastern Cuba associated with those troughs, the western Caribbean, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, the usual for South America. And we can also see where we indeed had some amount of afternoon convection across Jamaica. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean's weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that we would have received some amount of afternoon rainfall in yesterday's video across sections of especially central and eastern Jamaica, and some of it spilling into sections of western Jamaica. And what ended up happening? As early as 3:11 p.m., posts were made to our social media platforms like Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok page. So you can see that we definitely had some amount of afternoon convection as indicated by those whites that indicate clouds across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. So definitely sections of northeastern St. Andrew, northern St. Thomas, definitely sections of Portland, eastern St. Mary, sections of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester, definitely gotten on some amount of overcast skies and isolated thunderstorm activity. Then another post was made at 4:55 p.m. highlighting the infrared satellite images. We know the infrared satellite images show the high cold cloud tops, the deep convection associated with those cumulonimbus clouds, and we can see those high cold cloud tops represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, and even blacks within those reds. Not to mention the sparkling white dots that indicate some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. Taking a look at what we saw happening up to recording hour on the visible satellite images, look at that. We had more of that cloud coming in from the north and the west across western Jamaica, more from the south across southern Jamaica. It's more in the way of some variable winds, which brought in the afternoon convection that we got today. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we can see that we still have some amount of afternoon or evening convection taking place across sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, and maybe even northern St. Catherine as we speak. And if we take a look at the Cuban Doppler radar images, we know the Doppler radar images confirm the rainfall that we're seeing on the satellite images, and the Doppler radar images show the rainfall even better than the satellite images in some cases. We know the greens represent light to moderate rainfall, the yellows represent heavy rainfall, and we do see that rainfall right there off the coast of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, and we can see some rainfall right there across sections of inland areas of St. Anne and northern St. Catherine, just like what we see right now on the satellite images with those sparkling white dots that represent thunderstorm. So it kind of, adds up with and matches with what we're seeing on the satellite images. Don't see much of that elsewhere. So definitely a wet night for sections of southeastern St. Anne. Let us take a look at the temperatures right now. We can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and by 3 a.m. tonight, the temperatures should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS has Jamaica still embedded in some slight orange colors that represent at least 1 to 2 or even 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls, considering that this is valid for 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we know the average temperatures for the month of October in Jamaica is about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we look at the thermometer, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the equivalent or the same as 31 degrees Celsius. So if we should be receiving up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures for Saturday, it should be anywhere from 31 to 34 degrees Celsius at most. We can also see that we still have a lot of dry areas represented by those yellows, oranges, and reds across the Gulf of Mexico. It makes sense, it's right behind that cold front, and a lot of dry air usually follows cold front, especially that cool air. And we can see that we have a lot of warm, moist air right here across majority of the Caribbean, which explains all of the moisture and the very trophy kind of pattern. Not to mention that area where we have Hurricane Tammy. You can also see some dry areas represented by the yellows across the northern main development region. Let us take a look at the Saharan dust forecast. We can see that 2 p.m. on Saturday has some slight browns that represent some amount of hazy weather, but it won't even be that noticeable. We don't have that vigorous dark brown plume at this time of year, and we hope that it stays that way. Taking a look at the wave forecast, we can see that we have those lighter shades of blue surrounding the island for Saturday, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls. And we know the lighter shades of blues represent up to 0.5 meter wave height, as we can see on the key at the bottom right. And that's due to the fact that the winds are not going to be that strong across the island for tomorrow. If we take a good look, we can see that the winds are coming in from the north across the north coast of the island, and coming in from the south on the south coast of the island. And we can see that all of that air is piling up across inland areas of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. So definitely we're in for some amount of afternoon convection, especially across inland areas first, and with the upper level wind shear coming in from the southwest. Some of that activity could bring more in the way of overcast skies, showers, and thunderstorms to sections of northern parishes in Jamaica. Either way, it's definitely going to be raining across eastern, central, and western Jamaica for Saturday. And we know when we're talking about western Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. Central Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. And eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So get your laundry done early so that you're not that drastically affected. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, we can see the 1 hour totals are actually showing rainfall just like what we mentioned. The Euro model showing the blues that represent rainfall, and this is valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. at Jamaica time. And if we take a look at the GFS, we see something similar with those blues, especially across inland areas of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. If we take a look to a couple hours later, this is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5 p.m. Jamaica time, and we still have the blues dotting sections of the island, especially the southeast, maybe Kingston and St. Andrew, western St. Thomas. And we can see that the GFS is a bit more robust, showing something similar to what the EU is showing right here across the southeast, and we can see it across sections of western Jamaica as well. Either way, it's definitely going to be raining, and the accumulated precipitation forecast confirms this, definitely across sections of eastern, central, and western Jamaica. But we can see that the rainfall totals are different in terms of location, but it paints a picture that yes, up to 0.48 of an inch of rainfall across western Jamaica, but the GFS showing up to 0.53 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we're going to be getting rainfall. We're in the month of October. We're grateful that we're going to be getting that rainfall. We're in our peak rainy season, so we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into the drier months, December through April, where we have the dry season in Jamaica. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of clouds bringing overcast sky showers and thunderstorms in sections of the Bahamas, Cuba, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela as usual, sections of Guyana, majority of the eastern Caribbean, all courtesy of Hurricane Tammy. And if we actually take a look at the Doppler radar images of the eastern and northeastern Caribbean, we can see where we indeed had that rainfall, especially across the northeastern Caribbean. Here and there scattered showers, all courtesy of those troughs. Definitely had rainfall across sections of Puerto Rico coming in from the east today, sections of the British Virgin Islands mostly. You can see that rain band coming into sections of the US Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica. But look at that right there. We can see Hurricane Tammy's center right there spinning away off to the east of Martinique. We can see that rainfall coming into sections of Barbados. St. Lucia not getting much rain right now, but definitely more rainfall to come tonight. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados definitely got in on a lot of rainfall for today. And we can see that deep convection surrounding the eye of Tammy. And we can even see it better on the Barbados radar right here. Lots of yellows that indicate some very heavy rainfall, especially after the south of the island. All of those feeder bands definitely getting in on some heavy rainfall across southern Barbados at this time. Lots of strong winds to the north of Barbados as Tammy is moving off towards the west northwest, closer to Martinique and Dominica, as well as Guadeloupe. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, You can see that rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of Cuba, the afternoon rainfall that they got, sections of the waters to the north of Honduras, as well as northern Venezuela. However, as it relates to the temperature forecast, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are still showing some amount of above normal temperatures across the Caribbean basin, anywhere from the eastern to the western Caribbean. Definitely going to be getting up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. As it relates to the siren dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we do see those slight browns that indicate some amount of hazy weather, but we won't even notice that in the sky. We won't even be affected by it health wise, because this is not a vigorous plume. We don't see those darker shades of browns like what we would usually get in the summer months, June, July, and we're grateful for that. We don't need any of that right now. As relates to the wave forecast, we can see where we indeed have the highest waves, where we have those troughs and Hurricane Tommy, as indicated by those purples, reds that indicate 2-meter wave heights or more, getting up to even 10 meters, especially where we have Hurricane Tommy. So especially the eastern Caribbean islands. So ensure that you're not out at sea, so that you're not drastically affected by that storm surge that Tommy will be causing. Elsewhere across the Caribbean, 1-meter wave heights. The Western Caribbean, the Bahamas, the Gulf of Mexico, 0.5 meter wave height. And that's due to the fact that the winds are not going to be that strong in those areas. But where we have Tommy, that's where we're going to have the 25 knot winds or more, up to 60 knots. Definitely where we have those hurricane force winds spinning around the center of Tommy. While elsewhere, we should be getting in on more in the way of some variable winds. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, now we do see the consensus that some very heavy rainfall is expected across sections of the eastern Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent, sections of Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada as well, sections of Guyana. We can see Venezuela, Colombia, as usual, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, sections of Belize, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, sections of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, Jamaica, and we see the consensus on both the Euro and the GFS models, even although majority of the heaviest rainfall associated with Tommy will be out to sea, as indicated by those purples and those whites and almost grays. Definitely some tremendous rainfall, up to even 12 inches, especially across the waters to the east. That doesn't mean that we won't have flooding across the islands as well. And we know that when both maps are showing the same thing like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.